Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is RJ Coronado. I'm the Northwest organizer for the Harris County Democratic Party. We're super excited to have you volunteer with us. What I am going to do is share my screen, have a short presentation on what we're working on for this upcoming runoff election and what we'll be working on leading up until November. And what I'll do is show you also how to sign up for a phone bank, what the script looks like, who we're calling, and how to put the responses in. I'll also include my contact information. That way, if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to me. Okay, just some short introductions. Again, my name is RJ. I'm the Northwest organizer for the Harris County Democratic Party. My big focus are specifically on Texas House districts in the Northwest area. This includes Texas House District 126, 132, 135, and 138. 132 is currently held by Representative Gina Kalani, 135 by Representative John Rosenthal, and 138 and 126 both have Republican incumbents. So those are both seats that we're looking to flip. On the top left, you have our operations director, JL Cassiano. She is also our East Houston organizer, or East Harris County organizer. She, in addition to her operations duty, handling widespread things for the party, she also does things specifically for East Houston, organizing in the area and working to mobilize volunteers. On the bottom left, we have our Southwest and AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander organizer, Ariel Lorenza Mendez. She's focused in the Southwest area, but she also, again, does stuff specifically for AAPI. Then on the bottom right, we have our organizing director, Sam Zuniga. He also works specifically with Northeast Harris County and Southeast. And again, we all help each other out. So you are more than welcome to reach out to any of us. You know, it's if you want to work specifically in the area that you live in, you know, you can, again, reach out to any one of us. We're all helping each other during this time, especially during COVID while we're at home. So everything that we have been doing since March has been virtual. This is a calendar of the primary runoff election. Early voting has started today. Today is June the 29th. Early voting will go through this Thursday, and then it will end on Friday and Saturday for 4th of July weekend. Sunday, the polls will be open again, and then Monday through Friday of next week, they'll be open as well through July the 10th. Election day is a couple of weeks away on July the 14th. The vote by mail application deadline is July the 2nd. And that's a really important date. We are no longer calling for specifically for vote by mail applications because early voting started. We're reaching out to everybody that is considered a Democrat and encouraging them to go out and vote. You may encounter somebody that is eligible to vote by mail, and if they have their application on them, then we absolutely want to encourage them to return it by July the 2nd. The application has to be postmarked by that date, so as long as it's in the mail and postmarked by July the 2nd, they are eligible to receive their ballot for the runoff. Now, if they get it in past that date and they mark their application as annual, then they will receive a ballot for November. They may not necessarily receive it for the runoff, but again, they'll receive it for November as long as they mark it annual. The deadline for the November election to apply to vote by mail isn't until sometime in October. The voter registration deadline has passed. So right now we're in the early voting phase. Again, we're making calls to get out the vote, just encourage people to get out there and vote early or submit their vote by mail application ASAP. That way they can get their ballot in time. Now, in regards to voting, who's eligible to vote by mail, and again, I want to stress the importance of voting by mail because of the COVID pandemic. We want to make sure that these lines are as short as possible on election day. The last thing that we want are people not going to vote because the lines are too long or that they don't feel safe or comfortable exercising their right to vote. So we do want to make sure that anybody who is currently eligible to vote by mail does get out there and does submit their ballot. So in terms of eligibility, anybody who's 65 years or older, anybody who's disabled, anybody who's going to be out of the county on election day and during the period for early voting by personal appearance, or people confined in jail but otherwise eligible. These are all people that are eligible to vote by mail in Texas. Voting by mail in Texas is a two-step process. You do have to apply every year to vote by mail. This is something that was recently changed this past year. People are used to getting their applications or even their ballots regularly, and now they have to apply every single year. So it's even that more important that we're calling them and making sure that we get these people applications and ensure that they return them. That way they can get their ballot for each election that they're eligible for. From application to voting, again, with early voting starting, we're no longer calling specifically to send out applications or to ensure that applications are returned primarily. So if you do get somebody that is 65 and older and they have an application, you want to make sure that they return those ASAP. We're already sort of past the phase to watch for the ballot, but if you, again, get somebody who's applied recently, just tell them to keep an eye out for the ballot. And then we're going to call to ensure that ballots are returned. So again, in addition to calling for early voting, if somebody has told you that they applied to vote by mail and they received their ballot and they returned it, great, they voted, thank you so much. And I'll show you how to put those responses in within the next few minutes. Okay, and just some FAQs about voting by mail. You don't have to memorize these, but these are questions that may come up. Number one, election officials send voters ballots on a rolling basis, but no earlier than 74 days before an election. Mail ballots must be mailed in and received by 7 p.m. on election day. This is important. You may reach a voter who may not have received their ballot, and maybe 5 calls ago you talked to somebody who's already returned it. It may just be that that person hasn't submitted their application as quickly as the other person, or they just haven't been sent out yet. But if they have applied and they know that they've applied, they should be receiving their ballots. If somebody wants to return it, they have until 7 p.m. on election day. It must be there at the clerk's office in order for it to be counted. The good thing is, and this goes into number 2, if you apply to vote by mail but you want to vote in person, you must take the ballot, voted or blank with you to the polling place. You give the clerk your ballot and they will cancel it. Then you vote in person. If somebody hasn't returned their mail ballot in and they decide that they want to go into the office to drop it off, as you may know, the office will be pretty busy. They can also just go to any polling place in Harris County and they will mark their ballot out and they will vote like they normally would. If they don't bring the vote by mail ballot to the polling place, they will have to vote provisionally. I've used number 2 to convince people that haven't applied to vote by mail before to apply by saying that they can still vote in person even if they've already applied. So, we don't know where we're going to be in a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, we hope we're in a really good place, and we don't know where we're going to be in November. So if you are able to convince somebody, you can let them know, again, that we're not sure where we're going to be, but we hope things are better. You can apply now, and if things are better and you'd rather go in person, all you have to do is take that ballot with you. So at this point, I'll stop the recording and we'll get you set up with our open virtual phone bank. Okay, so if you've clicked on the link that I emailed to you or that's included in this email, you'll be taken to a screen that looks like this. It'll say open virtual phone bank, start making calls. All you'll do is click on this blue button that says get started. After that, you'll be taken to this screen. where it'll show your email, or it'll ask for your email address, your password. If you forgot your password, log in, create an Action ID account. If you've worked on another campaign, I would say within the past few years, and you have an active Action ID account, it should still work with this phone bank. Feel free to put in your email address and password. If you don't remember the password that you set up, all you have to do is click on Forgot Your Password. You'll be prompted to put in your email address, and then you'll be emailed the link to reset your password. If you haven't created an Action ID before, no problem. All you have to do is click on the button below that says Create an Action ID account. Once you do, you'll be taken over to this screen on this right-hand side. You'll see a space to put in your email address that you'd like to use. You will not get spammed. This is just to create your Action ID account. You'll also see the password underneath. Your password will need to have or include one lowercase character, one uppercase character, one number or special character, and it must be 8 characters minimum. Once you've set that up, you'll just need to put your first and last name, preferably your actual name. That just makes it easier for us on the back end to see who's calling, and then your phone number. And then you'll click that box and check or click on Create Account. And after that, you'll be taken to this screen. And what I'll do right now is pause and take you over to what our script looks like right now. Okay, so this is what the script will look like. I'm editing out the voter's name, and I'll go back to the screen to show you with the sample name how to mark somebody if you don't happen to reach them. So if you do, when you do reach somebody, this is what our script looks like. And it'll say, hi, is blank available? So we'll go ahead and say, hi, is Mr. Smith available? This is RJ with the Harris County Democratic Party, reaching out to good voters like you. How are you doing today? You're doing great, awesome. Can we count on your support for Democrats in November? We want to make sure that we're only turning out Democrats. Again, we're trying, as a Democratic Party, we're trying to encourage as many Democrats in Harris County to get out there and go vote. So if you do happen to reach a Republican or somebody who leans more to the right, all you have to do is say, thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Usually when you introduce yourself, if somebody's a Republican, they'll let you know right away. If somebody's a Democrat or an independent that may lean a little bit to the left, or they say that they're going to vote for Democrats up and down the ballot, great. Thank you so much. Early voting for the runoff begins on Monday, June the 29th, which is today, through Thursday, July the 2nd, and Sunday, July the 5th through Friday, July the 10th. Voters will be able to cast their ballot at any early voting center in Harris County. Voting locations can be found on harrisvotes.com. Can we count on you to vote early in the Democratic primary? Where and when are you going to vote? Here's your chance to really have that discussion with the voter. Make sure that they know where they're going to go vote, or make sure that they are actually going to go vote. If they need a ride, or if they need to know where to go, that can be found here on Harris Votes. You'll also see their nearest voting center up here on the top left. Again, in Harris County, they can go to any voting center, but usually their closest one will show up right here. And the reason I'm not going up any further is, again, because somebody's name is up there. So if we scroll back down, let's say you talk to somebody and they have a plan made, great, mark it as such. If they don't have a vote plan, if they say, I'm not going to go out and vote, okay, no vote plan. If after you tried and encouraged them to do so, they still tell you no. No vote plan if they don't have a vote plan made for election day. You'll see EV and E-Day. This just means early voting, and this is just election day. So if they tell you, I'm not going to vote on early voting, I'm going to go on election day. As long as they go out to vote, you can mark it right there. If they're not going to go at all, then you can just mark it as not voting. If they're voting by mail, which you may get somebody that has voted by mail or plans to do so right there. And you may get 1 or 2 people that have already voted, so you'll just mark it already voted. If you do get somebody that's 65 and older who is eligible to vote by mail, and again, you'll be able to see the age of the person up top. Ask if they've returned their ballot. Yes, they've sent it. Yes, they've received it, but they haven't sent it. And again, remember, if they have their ballot, they have until election day to turn it in, but we want to make sure that they get that in as soon as possible. So feel free to encourage them to do so. No, not received. No, voting in person, or no, never sent the application. So if you find someone who has a ballot but wants to vote in person, again, just reiterate that they need to take their mail-in ballot with them if they want to vote in person. Further information can be found at the Harris County Clerk's Office, ballot by mail, 713-755-3150, or email bbm@cco.hctx.net. Thank you for your time in voting Democratic. Have a great day. You can leave notes. I would say that everything that you would need to put down should be up here. If you have some sort of special case, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll include my information in the email, but I'll also include it over this video. My number is 281-381-0149, and my email is rj@harrisdemocrats.com. What I'll do now is switch my screen back over, so I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so this is what your, again, what the top of the screen should look like. I know I didn't show it before. This is just a sample. This is Ariel's information. She's our Southwest organizer, as I said earlier. So you'll see the voter's name immediately up top, their phone number, their age. You also see their name over here, and you may see a few other names over here. I would not pay too much attention to those other names unless you dial this number and David happens to pick up. All you'll have to do is click on David's name, and you'll be flipped over to David, and then you can put in responses for David if they apply. But again, our main focus is the person that's in front of us. So make sure that we keep it on this name as much as possible, because that's the voter that we're trying to talk to. If you can't reach them, all you'll do is click on this big button that says I couldn't reach Ariel. You'll see these responses pop up down here at the bottom. Busy, if you receive a busy signal. Disconnected, if the number no longer works. Refused, if somebody says, take me off your list, don't call here anymore, something like that. Refused will ensure that they're taken off the list. We're not leaving messages at this time. If someone hangs up on you without saying verbally that they want to not get called anymore or taken off a list, you'll just mark them as not home. So that includes, let's say you're mid-conversation and somebody just hangs up on you after you do your introduction. Make sure to mark that as a not home. That just ensures that we're going to try to contact them again. Sometimes people are busy or they're not in a good mood. As long as we mark them not home, we'll ensure that we can try and contact them again later. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. If you receive somebody that speaks Spanish, just mark them as Spanish. We'll make sure that somebody contacts them back. If they've moved, if they're deceased, if it's a wrong number, and if they're hostile. You very rarely will get somebody that's hostile, but if you do, you'll just mark them as hostile. And that's it. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me. The next part of this video will include going over accessing this phone bank from your phone. Preferably, you will want to access this phone bank via a computer or an iPad if you have one. All calls will be made off of your cell phone. So everything that we're dialing from will be, again, through our cell phones. So you'll need to either manually dial the number, or if you're working on the script off your phone should let you just click the highlighted phone number and it'll dial automatically. I'll also include a copy of the script in the email. That way you can print it out or just have it with you, since you may not be able to see the screen on your phone while you're talking to the person. I know it's easier sometimes to have a paper script beside you. Unfortunately, we are not doing any responses marked in the paper. Everything does have to be included or marked in the virtual phone bank. So again, I'll take you over to accessing that with your phone, and I'll show you an example with my phone. At this time, I will pause the recording. Okay, thank you so much. Now, I have my phone pulled up, and I don't know if you can see that, but I'm on the Open BPB link. All you have to do is click on that button that says Get Started. You'll put in your email address and password. And that's what I'm doing right now. Now, again, this is all on the previous instructions. This is just me doing it on the phone. You'll get a, if you have two-factor authentication added onto your account, you'll receive a text message with a code. All you have to do is put that code in, verify your device. And once you do that, you'll be taken to the screen with the voters' information. I apologize for the glare and the phone calls that are coming in. Okay, so you'll see the script on here, and that's where you'll put in your responses. Again, I know it's difficult to call and have the script in front of you at the same time because the phone screen is pretty small. I don't like calling on my phone either, or doing the phone bank from my phone. I prefer doing it through a computer. So if you use this paper script that I've included in the email, all you have to do is after you call that person, just put in your responses there at the bottom. It'll be the same I showed before, just on your phone. You'll be able to touch the options. And once you put in a response, if you scroll down to the very bottom, after you've put in a response, there'll be a blue button. It's not highlighted right now, but it says Save and Next Call. And all you'll do is click on that button. Once you're ready to stop making calls, there's a button down there at the bottom that says Stop Making Calls. You'll just click that button, log out, and you'll be good to go. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But this is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope you have a great day.